Some disappearances remain unexplained cases where people simply vanished without a trace. No clues, no suspects, only theories. Today, we're diving into 10 of the most mysterious disappearances that were never solved, from trailblazing pilots to entire families. These stories will leave you questioning the very fabric of reality. Let's begin. Our first case is one of the biggest aviation mysteries of the 21st century: the disappearance of Flight MH370. In March 2014, a Boeing 777 carrying 239 passengers and crew took off from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing. But somewhere over the South China Sea, it deviated from its flight path and disappeared from civilian radar. There was no distress signal, no mayday call, no explanation. An unprecedented international search effort covered millions of square miles of ocean, but it yielded almost nothing. Years later, a few scattered pieces of debris washed up on distant shores, confirming the plane went down, but not how or why. Was it a catastrophic mechanical failure? A deliberate act of sabotage by the pilots? Or something far stranger? To this day, the final resting place of MH370 and the 239 souls on board remains unknown. Long before MH370, another famous aviator vanished over the vast Pacific. In 1937, Amelia Earhart, a true pioneer of the skies, set out to become the first woman to circumnavigate the globe. Alongside her navigator Fred Noonan, she completed over 2/3 of her journey. But during one of the final legs, en route to a tiny speck of land called Howland Island, their radio transmissions grew faint, and then silence. An extensive search by the US Navy and Coast Guard found nothing. Theories have swirled for decades. Did they run out of fuel and crash into the sea? Were they captured by Japanese forces and executed as spies? Or did they manage to land on a remote, uninhabited island, living out their days as castaways? Despite countless expeditions and supposed discoveries, no piece of wreckage or human remains has ever been definitively confirmed as belonging to Earhart or her plane. From the skies to a quiet home in West Virginia, our next mystery is a chilling family tragedy. On Christmas Eve of 1945, the Sauter family home went up in flames. George and Jenny Sauter escaped with 4 of their 9 children, but 5 were believed to be trapped upstairs. Heartbreakingly, when the fire was extinguished, no remains were found in the ashes. The official conclusion was that the fire had been hot enough to completely incinerate the bodies, but the family refused to believe it. Stranger details began to emerge. A mysterious phone call just before the fire, a stranger seen watching the children weeks prior, and the family's ladder, always kept in its usual spot, was found moved to an embankment some distance away. The Sauters believed their children were kidnapped, possibly in retaliation for George's outspoken criticism of Mussolini's government. They spent the rest of their lives and their entire fortune searching, even erecting a billboard with the children's faces. Their fate remains one of America's most haunting unsolved cases. In 1975, a promising musician named Jim Sullivan was on the verge of a breakthrough. He left Los Angeles with his wife and son, heading to Nashville to pursue his career. He checked into a motel in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, but was never seen again. His Volkswagen Beetle was found abandoned on a remote desert road, just a few miles from the motel. Inside were his wallet, clothes, and his beloved guitar. Everything he owned was there, except for Jim himself. The most eerie part of his story is the title of his final album, released years earlier, UFO. The album's lyrics explored themes of leaving his family and being carried away into the desert by aliens. Did his art imitate life in the most bizarre way possible, or was it just a tragic, unexplained coincidence? Now, we journey back centuries to the very first English settlement in the New World. In 1587, a group of more than 100 men, women, and children established a colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of modern-day North Carolina. The colony's governor, John White, sailed back to England for supplies. Due to war with Spain, his return was delayed by 3 years. When he finally made it back in 1590, he found the settlement completely deserted. There were no bodies, no signs of a struggle, nothing to suggest what had happened. The only clue was a single word carved into a wooden post, Croatoan. This was the name of a nearby island and a local Native American tribe. Did the colonists integrate with the tribe? Did they succumb to disease or famine and relocate? Or did something far more sinister occur? The lost colony of Roanoke remains America's oldest unsolved mystery. Let's travel to the remote and rugged coast of Scotland in the year 1900 to the Flannan Knowles. A lighthouse on the uninhabited island of Moor was manned by 3 experienced keepers, Thomas Marshall, James Decat, and Donald MacArthur. When a passing ship noticed the light was out, a relief vessel was sent to investigate. The landing party found the lighthouse empty. The front door was unlocked, and inside, a meal was left half-eaten on the table. One chair was overturned, as if someone had jumped up in a hurry. 2 of the 3 keepers' waterproof coats were missing, suggesting one had left without his. The lighthouse logbook's final entry spoke of severe storms and strange, fearful prayers. But weather reports for that period showed the skies were calm. No bodies were ever found. What could have made 3 seasoned keepers abandon their post and vanish into the sea? Our next case brings us into the modern era of cell phones. In May 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson was driving home from a party in Minnesota when his car slid into a ditch. He called his parents for help, telling them he could see the lights of a nearby town and would start walking towards them. He stayed on the phone with his father for 47 minutes, describing his surroundings as he walked along what he thought was a gravel road. Then, suddenly, Brandon exclaimed, "Oh, shoot," the line went dead. His parents continued to call back, but he never answered again. An extensive search began, but police located his car miles from where Brandon said he was. Despite a massive, years-long search effort involving hundreds of volunteers and search dogs, not a single trace of Brandon Swanson has ever been found. His final words echo as a chilling, unanswered question. Remarkably, the Flannan Isles mystery isn't the only case of its kind. In that same year, 1900, another lighthouse crew vanished under eerily similar circumstances, this time on the nearby island of Moor. Again, 3 men were gone without a trace. When investigators arrived, they found the clocks had all stopped at the same time. The logbook described a sense of panic, mentioning violent storms that howled for days, storms that, according to historical records, never happened. It spoke of one keeper being unusually quiet and another weeping. The final, almost illegible entry simply said the storm had passed and all was calm. This parallel disappearance, so close in time and location to the Flannan Isles case, only deepens the mystery. Were these men driven mad by isolation, or did they encounter something truly inexplicable? In 2014, a German tourist named Lars Mittank was on vacation with friends in Bulgaria. After a minor fight in a bar, he ruptured his eardrum. A doctor advised him not to fly, so his friends flew home, while he stayed behind to recover. This is when his behavior became increasingly erratic. He called his mother, whispering that he was being followed and that he needed to hide. He claimed 4 men were trying to rob or kill him. The next day, he went to the Varna airport to see a doctor before a new flight. But during the consultation, a man dressed as an airport worker entered the room, and Lars panicked. He bolted from the office, sprinted through the entire airport terminal, and was last seen on security cameras climbing a tall fence and running into a dense forest nearby. No trace of Lars Mittank has ever been found since the desperate sprint into the woods. Our final case is one of America's most legendary unsolved crimes. In 1971, a man identified as Dan D.B. Cooper hijacked a Boeing 727 flying from Portland to Seattle. Calmly, he informed a flight attendant he had a bomb in his briefcase and demanded $200,000 and for parachutes. After the plane landed in Seattle and his demands were met, he released the passengers. He then ordered the pilots to fly towards Mexico City. Somewhere over the rugged, stormy wilderness of southwestern Washington, Cooper did the unthinkable. He opened the rear staircase of the plane and parachuted into the night, vanishing with the ransom money. An enormous manhunt turned up nothing. Years later, a young boy found a small bundle of the decaying ransom money on a riverbank, but it only added more questions. Did Cooper survive the jump? Who was he? His identity and his fate remain a complete mystery to this day. Some people vanish due to tragic accidents, their stories ending in the unforgiving wilderness. Others leave behind chilling clues that only deepen the mystery, pointing towards something we can't explain. Which of these disappearances haunts you the most? Let us know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoy this journey into the unknown, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because there are always more mysteries waiting to be explored. Thanks for watching.